there are going to be a lot of things in our life where we're going to be left in the gray area. So understanding that we might not have all of our answers in front of us right now, but that's also okay as well, because what's in front of us is the most beautiful thing, and accepting it and understanding it, and also listening to yourself, your intuition and your guidance, like where I feel so healthy at this point in my life. So this relationship that I have in front of me is the most beautiful thing. Welcome to the Love Atlas, where we delve deep into the hearts of what it means to truly connect with ourselves and others. Each episode is joined by leaders, experts, everyday people who share their unique perspectives about their profound insights and life experiences. Today we have Shikha, and Shikha is a coach, a personal development coach, and she really wants people to thrive, especially after coming out of a difficult situation when it comes to a relationship. So Shikha, tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you dive into this journey?
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sunaina, for
Yeah,
having me on your podcast. Such a lovely initiative you have.
thank
Um,
you.
and my personal journey has been around relationships, and it started 10 years back in 2013, where I was really stuck in a very toxic dynamic with my then boyfriend. And there was a lot of cheating involved, there was a lot of drama involved with him getting married and divorced during my relationship with him. And during that time, the version that I uh, was someone that who could feel that the whatever is happening with me is wrong, but I never knew how to get out of it. Like I never could muster the courage. Like, you're aware that you're sad, you're unhappy, you're depressed, you're not happy with this person, but never mustering the courage to walk out of that relationship. And
Yeah.
that's where my journey began. And in 2014, I was introduced to Buddhism, the profound philosophy of Buddhism. And I was introduced to this chant, this meditation, a vocal meditation that I do. Um, it's in Japanese. It's called Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Oh,
Yeah.
you've heard of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard of it. Yeah.
And so it means, for your audience, it means I dedicate my life to the mystic law of the universe. And there
Yeah.
was something about that meditation where when you're desperate, you just start doing something just because people
Yeah.
are just merging in your life and they're asking
Yeah.
you, why don't you try it? But within 6 months of my life, when I did it consistently, there was, there is science behind it, there is logic behind it, there is spirituality behind it. My inner world started shifting. I became more conscious and aware of who I am, of
Mhm.
what my self-worth is, of what my self-esteem is like. And then my personal revolution journey began, and I was able to walk out of that toxic relationship without suffering. And my life started shifting. I moved to the United States. That was the time when I moved to the US. And
Mhm.
for 10 years, I have been in the US, and have been practicing Buddhism for 10 years now, because I have only seen benefits and the person that I have become.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm very grateful to that heartbreak that it pushed me towards this spiritual journey. And it has really helped me become the best version of myself. So,
Wow. It's such an incredible path that you went on. And again, like with lots of ups and downs. I love that you mentioned Buddhism, because during the pandemic, that's when I started learning a lot about Buddhism. And I also started practicing Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. So I
oh
did
my
um
God.
do the chanting consistently. First, I remember walking into this one of the Buddhist temples, and everyone was doing the Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. And then first I thought to myself, oh, I don't know if this is for me. I definitely felt positive, like a positive shift, like within the room, and like everyone chanting. And but it's like kind of like new when something is new to you, you're a little like
Yeah,
uncomfortable. But at the same
yeah,
time, as you mentioned, when you're supposed to fall into something, like people will somehow come into your life and tell you great things about it. And I think like it made the pandemic a lot easier. Like during COVID time, I would join these meetings on Zoom and then we would like chant together. We would discuss all these like topics about like life, happiness, empathy, compassion. And it was a game changer. I'm currently not practicing it consistently, but it's always on my mind where I'm like, you know what, I want to get back into it. So maybe this is a sign connecting with you. I love the concept behind it, where it's just ultimately the goal is to like be happy and being able to have the courage to go through sufferings because it will happen no matter what in our life.
Yeah.
Tell us, so I love how you were just so open about like your past and like as you mentioned, like getting out of this situation, it was really hard for you to walk away from it. So, at the moment, what is a healthy relationship to you? Because obviously you've been through your ups and downs.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just want to just first respond to the practice part of it. Like it's so profound that I'm talking to you, and this is the mystic part of the practice where you keep
Yeah,
attracting, keep meeting
yeah,
people who have known the chant,
right.
and again. It's like there's a saying, the teacher appears when the student is ready. So
Mhm.
it's like a journey. So even though when I started in 2013, in the beginning it was like my faith was like fire, and then it keeps
Of
fluctuating, right?
course.
Because we are human
Yeah,
beings.
yeah,
But it's one of the sustaining things which has helped me. And the reason I'm saying this, I'm tying this down to the answer for your question, that what does a healthy relationship look like for you right now? And I'm going to quote one of my favorite quotes from my mentor, Daisaku Ikeda. He says, uh, true love can be fostered only between two strong, independent, and secure individuals. And it is two people not looking at each other, but looking in the same direction.
yeah,
And that just blew my mind away, because the first reflection that I had was that when you're saying that true love can be fostered between two strong, independent, and secure individual, the first question that comes up to my mind is, am I those three qualities? Am I those three values that I am looking for in a person? So for me, my relationship changed when I understood that we keep looking for the one, who's going to be the one. But the truth is, we are the one.
wow.
And
Yeah,
you're complete in yourself, like you are becoming strong, independent, and secured in yourself. You're becoming the best and highest version of yourself. You are the generator of your own happiness. And the person who comes along on that is the person who's further enriching your life. And this is my mission, to really awaken women to this truth, that there are these, and I'm going to touch upon that when you further talk about it. Like I learned about the 4 stages of love, but it is mostly first, it begins with you. Like I know it's very cliche that no, first you need to love yourself, but it is the truth.
yeah,
If you do not learn how to give that love and compassion to yourself, you'll keep seeking it out from the other person. And that other person only has a certain limit to which he can provide that to you, right?
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a healthy relationship with yourself, which then becomes the foundation for a healthy relationship with someone else.
Right.
So
Wow,
yeah.
that's great. And that's really good tip. So someone who's on this journey of loving themselves, like, do you have any big major tips for them, if they don't know where to start?
Absolutely. So obviously, because chanting is a big part of me, I just want to first mention what I do. One of the prayers or determinations that I make is, uh, when I started, when I started meditating for getting out of this toxic relationship,
Mhm.
was I love myself, I respect myself, I value my life, I'm a woman of unlimited self-esteem. These
Mhm.
were my 4 determinations, which I used to consciously like rewire my subconscious with this belief. So,
Yeah.
obviously, affirmations, everyone talks about it, but it is really very powerful because there is science behind it. It's it's all the belief system that you've had since childhood, and you're like, you operate from 95% of your subconscious mind
Mm-hmm.
and just 5% of your conscious mind. So my 95% of my subconscious did not believe in self-worth, did
Yeah.
not believe in what my value system was. So uh, there is this whole concept of auto suggestion to your subconscious mind,
Mm-hmm.
where affirmations play a major role. So
Mm-hmm.
just whatever your mode of meditation is, whatever your mode of uh, up leveling your life status, when you're doing that, make those affirmations.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I truly practice self compassion, and self compassion is not just it's a term which is very profound for me, because it's loving all parts of you. So
Mm-hmm.
we as human beings, of course, I have my highest self, but I'm also still going to make those silly mistakes where I'll be calling my ex and missing him when even my ex has done wrong with me. I'll
Yeah.
still do that. But
Yeah.
instead of being hard on this part, this version of you, which is doing that, having absolute compassion for that part of you, like giving that part of you love and
Yeah.
compassion. Like I literally do a self talk, like, oh, sweetheart, I know you're missing this person, but it's okay. I got you. Like
Yeah.
having this self conversation
Yeah.
between the higher self and the lower self. It's called, like, it's mostly like an embodiment work. Like you're talking from the higher self to the lower self. And there's
Mm-hmm.
something called paradox of transformation, which I learned from an amazing coach.
Yeah.
Um, and she says paradox of transformation is, um, if you're feeling unworthy,
Mm-hmm.
then you instead of getting, we start judging ourselves, that why am I feeling unworthy, right?
Yeah.
Instead of judging yourself, you give that part of you more love, that basically embrace your unworthiness. If
Mm-hmm.
you're feeling lonely, embrace your loneliness, like you give it the love and compassion. So I'm an absolute believer of affirmations and self compassion, like giving full permission to be yourself. Like
Yeah.
it is okay if you're low, it is okay if you're high, you're all of it. So
Yeah,
that is,
that's
yeah.
such really good advice, and like I think everyone can improve on that, because for me, I'm all about affirmations, and as a teacher I would always play positive affirmations for my students every morning. Like there's this YouTube video where it's like, I am amazing, I am
Uh,
incredible, I am unique. So we would play that every morning, and the crazy part was that when I started playing it, I started applying it as well. I'm like, okay, if I'm teaching all these incredible affirmations to students and social emotional support that I'm providing them, I'm like, I also have to apply it in my own life. So that's when I had started. And I remember I would play music, positive affirmation music, like even for myself when I woke up in the morning and while I'm showering, and just having that in the background. And to be honest, it really made my day. Like those were the moments where I still remember, like where I was like, oh my goodness, like I need to start doing that again. And it's a great reminder, because there's a lot of things sometimes that we do consistently for a time frame, as you mentioned, because we're human beings. And then after that, we kind of fall off our
yeah.
track. But at the same time, that's okay as well, and recognizing that. And that's where the self-compassion comes in,
Yeah.
understanding that, okay, you know what, I'm not consistent at the moment, but this is something that has worked for me and I enjoyed it, and I can get back on track. So it's definitely really good advice. And as you mentioned, like, calling your ex, and then like, giving yourself the higher person, talking to the lower person. That's very interesting, because I've never heard anything like that before. And I've never been in a situation like that, but I've had friends who have mentioned to me, like, yeah, why did I call him, or why did I call her? Like, I shouldn't have. And then, that shame and the guilt kicks in. It's really good advice, as you mentioned, to have that self-compassion, like, okay, you know what? I might be missing that person, and that's okay. And that's normal as well. Once you have that confidence within yourself and have that self-esteem, then you won't want to reach out anymore, because you'll realize, hey, I'm a lot better than that. And not that you're not giving yourself grace for the shame or anything like that, but at the same time, it's like understanding that, you know what, like I am gaining my confidence right now. I'm all the insecurities that I have are eventually, like, going to diminish slowly, and then I won't have to reach out to this person anymore.
Yeah, yeah, and I'd like to add that, and very like you kind of phrased it very beautifully, and I would like to add to it that it's basically like the more we resist it, like why am I doing this? Oh, and get mad at it. The intention of your ego is pure, which is like basically you're like, oh, I don't want to feel like this, I don't want to do this thing.
Yeah.
The intention is to protect you, but it
Hmm.
doesn't serve you in the long run. But when
Yeah.
you but when you give it permission, when you give it acceptance, like the more we resist, then the bigger it becomes. And
Yeah.
so the moment you're in acceptance phase, um, and not judging that part of you, because that judgment only adds more levels and layers of self-criticism, inner critique, and all
Yeah.
of this, and it just doesn't serve your growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
just to add to that, that no judgment and not resisting it, like, and it instantly passes through you. And as you said beautifully, that giving yourself permission, and that I am going through a healing process, acknowledging that it's okay to take two steps back, but I will still take that one step forward. So
For
it's, yeah.
sure, yeah. And then going back to like you getting out of the situation that you were in and then you going on this like healing journey. So how um is it turning out for you? I would say now, like how is the dating life? Are you seeing someone or are you not?
Yeah. Yeah, so I finally, actually last year, I met, so this happened in Seattle, Washington, and I have had my dating journey. And, in the past 10 years, I have been with men, and it has not lasted very long because, relationship is a journey. And so that's why I have 10 years of wisdom of heartbreaks,
Yeah.
where I realized it and every heartbreak kind of helped me evolve more. And that's why I feel heartbreak is a beautiful thing. Like, it's, if you start seeing it that way, it's like, obviously I don't want women to go through heartbreaks all the time, but if it
Yeah.
happens, using it as an opportunity of self growth, because every time I have only evolved more and been able to see my worth more. And so that's why I did end up meeting someone wonderful last year, and he was in Seattle, and it has been the most healthiest relationship of my
Uh,
life.
yeah.
um, and but unfortunately life took a turn, and I had to move to India, and he's in the US. And so
Okay.
we this is the first time in my life ever that I have been put in a long distance relationship kind of a
Yeah.
situation.
Stuff.
um, and so it was very tough for me. Like, my life had changed 180 degrees or 360 degrees, I don't know, but like completely changed.
180. Yeah.
180 degrees. Yeah, 360 is coming back. Sorry.
360 will be like, ooh.
So, and then my relationship also started, because long distance is tough, especially when you have 12 hours of difference. But that is what but I will, so we are still going through it. We are still figuring it and navigating because it's a newer challenge.
Yeah.
But again, the lesson that I have learned is that as long as you have a strong relationship with yourself,
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. And
Yeah.
if that person is truly meant for you, like
Mm.
is truly aligned with your values, it's gonna come back. Like, you're not
Yeah.
gonna miss the person who's meant for you.
Right.
So that's where I'm at, where I'm like, okay, life throws challenges towards
Hmm.
you, but it's also an opportunity to see whether this relationship can go deeper than this, or is it
Yeah.
to this level. So I'm
Yeah.
at that stage. I'm in that transition phase. So yeah, so it's still, we are figuring
Yeah.
it out. Yeah.
No, definitely. And that is challenging, like leaving everything behind and then moving back. And like, as you mentioned, you've never been in a long distance relationship before. So this is definitely a new challenge for you. But again, I love how you just mentioned, like, it's bringing you closer to yourself and like, understanding that like, I'll be okay at the end of the day. That's what matters the most. And knowing that you're strong within yourself with the decisions you're making for your life and if it's meant to be, as you mentioned, it's not going to pass by you and not having to worry. And I think like what I've learned is when you're in a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
it will feel calm rather than like
Yeah.
constantly like having to worry about it. It'll feel like, you know what, like um I definitely want this to work out, but even if it doesn't work out, I'll be okay. And I think that's when you realize that you do love yourself and that your self-esteem and confidence level has, increased. And it's a really good feeling to be able to love yourself to that point where nothing can phase you. And like not in a selfish, egotistic way, but in a way where you feel confident within your own skin. And it takes time to get to that point. It's not something that, like where it's like within a heartbeat and it's like boom, you're there. It's a whole journey, and it's like there's still ups and downs with it.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
loved how you said, Sunana, that even if this relationship doesn't work out, I will be okay. Like
yeah, yeah,
that is the life I want to live. So I was
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
I was beaming with a smile because I am
yeah,
so aligned with your goals.
yeah,
And
yeah,
there is this another quote which I'm going to say. Um, no one can give you love, no one can take it away from you. You are the source of love. So
yeah,
it's like basically people just come in your life and they evoke the love that you
yeah,
already are.
yeah.
So when they come and they go, you're still the source of love. So once
Right.
you're able to come back and tap into that source, then you're like, it's okay. So it didn't work out. So what?
Yeah,
I still
exactly.
love this
Yeah,
person. It was beautiful.
yeah,
Appreciation, and definitely no blaming. Like, I know it's very difficult, but the quicker we stop blaming the other person and come to the place of appreciation, the quicker you move on, the quicker you evolve, and you're in
yeah.
a much happier place. Yeah.
Right. And then I feel like blaming only like makes things worse because then it holds you back from like fully healing as well, right? There's no point of holding a grudge.
Yeah.
It was a lesson for you, it was a lesson for him, and like, it would just you guys were not aligned, and that is absolutely fine. Sometimes we attract certain people into our life due to our karma and like what
Yeah.
we may be going through and what we might have been through. So it's okay to understand that like this was a lesson and this is something that I'm going to move past and be happy within myself to attract a better partner. And as you did, you attracted someone. See, it sounds like a nice, healthy like relationship. Just keep loving yourself and keep thriving in that. Like, last but not the least, you mentioned such good advice, but is there one big advice for our listeners or you wish you had given to your younger self?
Oh my God, so many advice.
Yeah.
This is a very good question. Um, and thank you, beautiful questions. And there's so much I want to learn about you. Like I
Uh,
feel like asking you so many questions. Um, but if I had to give myself, uh, um, like I would say that love is not the romantic relationships are not the be all and end all of life.
Bollywood doesn't teach us that.
Women, like as a young girl, I suffered so much only to realize that it's just a part of your life. It's not your entire life. So I would have told that young girl that,
Yeah,
focus on
yeah,
polishing your life, become independent, emotionally independent,
right.
financially independent, and the rest, when things have to be aligned, it will.
Yeah.
So I think I would say that
Yeah,
it's
but
not.
that's also a journey as well, because if I think back to like, I mean, if I think about it and I'm like, oh, like if I have a daughter, I would want her to know these things like sooner rather than later. But it's like we have our own path. And like if you really think back to like the experiences you've had, it's made you you. So
Yeah.
don't ever doubt that and understand that like your experience has been unique and it's given you this insight that you're sharing with the world now.
Yeah.
Because if we didn't go through those experiences, that wouldn't, like first of all, we wouldn't be where we are at this given moment
Yeah.
doing what we're doing. Yeah,
I
yeah,
so agree.
yeah,
I am today in this journey only because of heartbreaks.
yeah,
I've had so many that I really had to, because then you realize, because relationships are the most vulnerable things,
yeah,
vulnerable
yeah,
aspect of your life, where you're
sure.
literally you're the most raw form,
Yeah,
where all
yeah,
your insecurities and
yeah,
darkness, it eventually comes out. And
totally. Yeah,
so it's like you are in this battleground where you can get so hurt.
yeah,
And So that's why it's one of this direct path to self-development, like personal development
And
work.
I just wanted to put it out there, like being able, you being a South Asian woman and being able to spread this awareness and being able to talk about it openly as you are, that's beautiful because a lot of people, unfortunately, we don't feel so comfortable like opening up about these things and talking about it because of the way we might have been raised and things like that. So the fact that you're like, shining that light and being your true, like vulnerable self, that's it doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I want to, I would mirror that to you as well. Like
Yeah,
that
yeah.
amazing effort, like your
So we'll end with like
podcast.
you
Yeah.
asking me, sorry, we'll end with like you asking me one question. I never do this, but I'm gonna allow you to.
All right. I definitely wanted to know your can I ask you just two questions?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
Sure.
what has your journey been that you
Yeah.
started this podcast? And
Yeah.
second, what is your biggest lesson in love? These are the two
Oh, for
questions.
sure.
Yeah.
So I would say the first question, podcasting journey, the reason why I started this is as an elementary school teacher, I really focused on my students, like teaching them social emotional skills. As I mentioned, like positive affirmations and, just really focusing on empathy and compassion. So I was teaching highly gifted second and third graders. So their IQ was 144 and above. The focus was so much on academics. They were already brilliant, but there was such a big lack when it comes to social emotional skills. And due to the school politics and all of this stuff, like there was a lot of emphasis on only academics and like no social emotional skills. So I was like, no, these kids need to learn all these skills academically. They're already very high. Like I need to be able to teach them these skills. So when I started teaching them these skills, I also noticed that adults also lack these skills. And a lot of the times we don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, when I took a little break from teaching, and then now at the moment, I'm teaching students like one on basically, when I started this whole podcasting journey, I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, after I did my first one, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to end up getting more people. So I did
Yeah.
my first one, and next thing you know, like this was like 5 months ago, and I've
Wow.
been so consistent with it. Like every single week, I do at least one or two. And anytime I even doubt myself or question myself, I come across someone like you, and then I'm like, no, like I want to keep going, and like it's not even about the money more than anything. It's about learning from people and
Yeah.
like taking that away because that fills my cup. And yeah, since then I've been consistent. I edit my own videos, I create reels, and I just post it. In the beginning, I was pretty shy, like, and a little insecure, thinking like, oh, like, do I really want to put myself out there? But then I'm like, no, like, you start doing it and you're like,
Yeah.
you start enjoying it. And then to answer your second question, the second question was, what did I learn
What
about?
is your deepest lesson that you've learned
Oh,
about love? Yeah.
yeah, I would say what we think we want in life sometimes, like we think like, we really want this, we really want this, might not be right for you because what
Yeah.
the universe wants for you can be very different. And then
Mm,
accepting that and understanding that this is the right path for me, and understanding that sometimes what we want can be very different than what the universe might think as like what we need, right? So
mm,
really internalizing that and understanding that, because when you're young, you don't know any better and you think like, oh, this is right for me, and like then you realize like, no, that wasn't right for me. And even though if you think back to it and you might think like, oh my goodness, like this could have been, or this would have been a dream, like everyone has this story, but no, that person or that friendship or whatever you might want to call it, it wasn't meant to be for a reason. And really accepting that and understanding that and moving on from that. Because if we hold on to things and we keep questioning it, there are going to be a lot of things in our life where we're going to be left in the gray area. So understanding that we might not have all of our answers in front of us right now, but that's also okay as well, because what's in front of us is the most beautiful thing, and accepting it and understanding it, and also listening to yourself, your intuition and your guidance, like where I feel so healthy at this point in my life. So this relationship that I have in front of me is the most beautiful thing. In the past, I didn't feel the most comfortable, or I didn't feel the most authentic to be myself. So there's a reason why it didn't work out.
Yeah. Wow. Can I say something? I needed to hear this. I needed to, as I said, that I'm in a long distance, and sometimes long distance
Yeah.
becomes so tough. And
Yeah.
sometimes, is there a design that universe is trying to do something
Sure.
which
I
I'm not
believe
being able
that.
to see?
I
So
believe
I
that.
needed to hear this, and
Yeah.
it's a lot, it's very challenging. So thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. It's like this was my sign. I needed to hear this.
Yeah, no, of course. And like everything that you've been discussing as well, I needed to hear it as well. And that's why we're in this journey, right? Because it really helps you thrive. It helps you learn from one another, and it makes you a better person. And it makes you also less judgmental in life, right? Because sometimes we can like view someone from their social media, or like in a different light. But then when you actually like get to talk to them and have a conversation with them, it shows that everyone has a story, and everyone has their own journey. And to be able to really understand and listen to their journey is like, nothing is better than that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, so
So thank
nice.
you so
And
much for joining.
continue
It was
doing
really
this,
awesome.
because this has a lot, like, just I have a feeling like, you said, for your intuition, continue doing this, because the world needs this, like they need to
Yeah.
hear this. So
No,
yeah.
of course. Thank you so
And
much.
continue chanting, like I will encourage
Yes.
you
Yes.
to.